Hey everyone, it's Thyworm with a roundup covering indie games and ARPGs for the PC. So what's going on in the gaming world? As always, timestamps are available and sources are in the description. Leading the episode with Dreamscaper, an extremely promising early access title with a unique art style made by just 3 developers. It's an ARPG about dreaming and dealing with your own demons, as protagonist Cassidy defeats her nightmares at night and makes friends in the city during the day, unlocking skill bonuses and permanent buffs along the way. It's a truly fantastic game. Now, games get delayed all the time, right? But when does it ever happen that a game releases a week sooner than planned? I can't remember, but Dreamscaper is releasing 1 week ahead of schedule. Release date is now August 5th instead of August 12th. And not only that, it's bringing some hefty updates for the 1.0 version. How about a whole heap of challenge settings so you can play the game the way you want? I really enjoy various difficulty sliders, so you can tweak this to your heart's content. There is a new biome available, the Return. There are 2 new bosses. One is Regret, a cunning and agile foe, and the other Resentment, described as an absolute unit. There are 2 new enemies as well, the Assassin and the Umbra Knight. The game offers multiple endings depending on which boss you kill and unlock. There's an overhauled HUD, as you can see over here. The game supports 6 additional languages. There are 35 new Steam achievements, 7 new music tracks and numerous miscellaneous additions. And if this wasn't enough already, the game announced it made enough money during early access that the devs will give us 1 free content update after launch in version 1.1. Yes, these devs are actually amazing. Path of Exile released a teaser for patch 3.15 and here it is. As always, super informative, thanks Bex. We're getting the juicy reveal stream July 15th and the league launches July 23rd. Those are New Zealand times, I suppose. I guess in EU and US regions it'll be a day earlier. Spacepunks revealed its face to the world and it's quite something to behold, honestly. You're looking at pretty much a top-down version of Borderlands for all intents and purposes. Spacepunks is a co-op top-down looter shooter with over-the-top action. It features a diverse cast with Duke, the charismatic leader with a minigun, the crazy one, a pig with a Russian accent who's dual-wielding blasters, the smart one, a mantis with all sorts of gadgets, and finally the scary one, a woman with tentacles. Can't wait for the tentacle jokes, which are surely to be there. The sense of humor seems a not-so-great version of Guardians of the Galaxy, and they changed the funk soundtrack into a punk soundtrack. That's a bad choice, but on the plus side, the trailer did get The Offspring in there as the soundtrack, so that's 10 out of 10. I think there is a small risk of this just being very cringe and not funny, because they seem to try very hard to be funny. But otherwise the game looks good. I like the cel-shaded graphics, the character seems diverse, it's co-op multiplayer and it comes to early access on Steam on July 14th. That's real soon. I'll buy it. Count me in. Wolcen dropped another patch before content patch 3 is released into the wild, bringing summoner changes. It's mostly bug fixing, this 1.1.3.0 patch, but they snuck in some quality of life as well. The first one is a massive change, without any sarcasm, because health, rage and willpower potions can now be used at any time without delay and without breaking an ongoing channeling skill. Believe it or not, but animation locking actually prevented you from using potions in this game. I got killed so many times because of that. People complained about this probably since, I don't know, Umbra, but hey, better late than never. I appreciate this change. They added 3 more things. Items sold by Havar and Mojave now scale up to the maximum expedition level unlocked. The items obtained as rewards for completing the Seeker's Garrison and Stormfall Trade Assembly projects in Stormfall Palace now scale up to the maximum expedition level unlocked, making these a lot more useful. And finally, clarified and added values to almost every modifier for Feeding Swarm, Hunting Swarm, Liver Mortis and Parasite, both in the tooltips and the skills panel. So that's already a small minion change right there. Keep it up, Wolcen devs, we may get there yet. Arboria released another early access update, Loot and Legend. This is the 10th update already for this troll-infested action RPG, which I recently covered in a video. It's made great progress actually. It's a good game and it will be released rather soon, because it is still in early access. The Loot and Legend update brings a new enemy, the Mimic, Yeah, not exactly original, but okay. Unique symbionts are introduced, which are your weapons, and unique weapons, that's always a good thing, of course. These uniques have a special 4th trait, and the weapons can evolve over time. You can mostly find them in quest rewards, but also at random from big chests. The gods perform more and new tests. There is a bonfire event allowing you to get a temporary stat increase while listening to the stories of fallen heroes. The elemental overcharge makes it into the game, allowing you to explode enemies that have been affected by elemental ailments. The update brings fast travel options to the village, which is a welcome change because once you got everything unlocked over there, you had to walk quite a bit at times. You're now allowed to rebind mouse and keyboard keys, so Mac is probably going to be happy about that should he ever review this game. And finally, there are a whole heap of updates and smaller fixes to enemies, UI, graphics, loot, and pretty much anything else you can think of. This is a game to put on your radar. Release is planned later this year, somewhere in the summer. Phantom Abyss fixed most disconnection errors. These were occurring when entering floors 1 and 2 or when claiming a relic. That one in particular is pretty brutal. Phantom Abyss is a parkour Indiana Jones whipping indie game and it is super fun. I made a review about it, check the card, and if you're interested, check the game. There are a few more improvements in this update. They added an option to remove camera bob while sprinting in the video menu, and they give you now an option to not roll the entire camera when you do a rolling landing. It's kind of disorienting, and while I enjoy the feature, I can imagine some people literally get sick from all the screen movement. Red Solstice 2, a rather unique real-time strategy top-down XCOM kind of game with some really fun and intense battles, launched a few weeks ago and was received rather well. I reviewed the game and I had fun, but also found it very confusing, mainly the UI. While I did get some flack in the comments and some dislikes, I'm clearly not the only one with this issue, and while you could argue this is a niche game made for a niche audience, you could also argue that games should be accessible and playable whether you're familiar with the genre or not, or you'll have a hard time finding new audiences. The devs seem to agree because they're going to tackle the UI in upcoming patches. And it's not only that, they have posted an entire list of updates that we will be getting sometime in the future. Here's a selection of the more interesting ones. They'll implement skirmish bots, which you can name, the ability to follow players and see who you recently played with, the ability to reassign followers to other players, AI improvements, more missions and more mission variety, more monsters, daily, weekly and monthly challenges, and some quality of life changes for skirmish. For example, 2 fire teams with 2 leaders, each tackling several objectives. These are all issues I addressed in the review, and I'm glad the devs have looked at this and are making changes accordingly. No timelines are provided and no priority on this is decided either. But keep following the Roundup for more news though. I will be tracking and playing the game. Solar Purge, a top-down twin-stick shooter from Hitscan Games, released patch 0.3.0. The game is still in early access, but they are consistently releasing updates since this year after a bit of a rocky start. A new planet got added to the campaign, Planet Titus. A quick save function got added to the holo chamber mode, which means that you can now run a session, save and then quit the game. And then when you return, the session is still there and you can continue. This is a great feature because the holo chamber is all about reaching the very high floor levels, and reaching higher levels takes a lot of time. With quick save you can take a break and come back later. The devs added an NPC, some enemies and UI elements as well, plus a cryo grenade for the engineer and overcharge for the juggernaut. This game is also on sale currently for 50% off in the Steam sale. It's like $11 in my country at the moment, and if you like what you see, you could consider getting on board early. It's a small gamble, but updates are rolling in regularly now. Grime announced their release date, August 2nd. Grime is a fast and unforgiving action-adventure RPG developed by Cloverbyte and published by Arboria Games. Never heard of either of these companies, but the game looks rather good. It's a platformer, clearly, and what caught my eye is how well your main character stands out versus the backdrops. The animations look pretty dope and the atmosphere is something I can appreciate. The devs describe it as eye-popping surrealism, and I concur with that view. It's hard to tell what the game itself is about, but you're fighting and absorbing your enemies, unlocking more weapons and playstyles as you go, and you have options to specialize in skills and the weapons, hence the RPG elements I suppose. Blightbound releases July 27th after spending time in early access. This multiplayer dungeon crawler from Ronimo Games is published by Devolver Digital, which means it's a good game, usually. You can take 3 heroes to fight the abominations of the Blight, and this game has been on my radar for a while, I just never played it. Steam ratings are only at 71% though, mostly positive, with the negative reviews pointing out a lack of variety, hero identity and passives and skills that all feel the same. Broken Ranks is currently in open beta. It is developed by an indie studio, White Moon, which already spent the last decade developing and maintaining the predecessor for Broken Ranks called The Pride of Tyrn, which is a browser-based multiplayer adventure with turn-based combat, and so is Broken Ranks. It boasts a rich narrative, interesting characters and a unique combat system, which is turn-based, but you only get 10 seconds per turn to make your choices. I played the beta for a bit and it is a refreshing system actually, while still feeling very tactical. You have presets you can make, you can change combos on the fly, you can allocate points to a certain defense based on the enemies you face, and all these choices have an immediate impact on the outcome of battle. The beta otherwise ran really bad for me in terms of frame rates and performance. There are no options at all to choose from, like resolution, graphics options, VSync, nothing. It kinda seems they're still running it on a browser, but now it's full screen. I hope that's not the case actually. It's only beta, but still. Nevertheless, this game already has an active community and a solid game as a foundation, so this could be a decent title. I'll leave a link to the open beta in the description if you want to check that out for yourself. Surprising absolutely no one. Magic Legends is shutting down the 31st of October. The most entertaining part about this game were the sponsored streams, where some of my favorite streamers tried their very best to enjoy the game, but it was pretty much impossible despite being paid big monies. While maybe the concept of using random card combinations for combos to kill monsters in an ARPG was good on paper, anyone looking at the game could see that pretty much everything was RNG. The game ran like absolute dogshit, and the only redeeming features were the animations, which were solid, and perhaps the lore and universe around all of this. But even the franchise couldn't save this one. Next to that, a heavy focus on monetization and plenty of pay to win spelled doom for the game. I don't like to see products fail because in the end devs are people too and they put in hard work to create this, but I do like to see that more and more bad products are simply not getting away with this anymore. The game never even made it out of open beta, that's how bad it was. To their credit, the devs will refund everyone who made a purchase and spent money in-game across Arc and the Epic Game Store during the open beta. We could give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's the right thing to do, but I am not sure they deserve the benefit of the doubt here with a product like this in the state they released it. So I'm going to say that their legal department pretty much gave this order, because the lawsuits otherwise would have been probably catastrophic, with claims that far surpassed the development costs of this game. It's time for the random emails category, and we got one, ladies and gentlemen, and what a piece of beauty it is this time, because Mitzi Games emails me about Space Cats Tactics. That's right, cats in space shooting up aliens, what more do you really need? Normally I'd say this is a total meme and might be worth covering for that reason. Some time ago I got an email about Moolander, for example, a platformer with cows, and maybe I should just put these things in there, right? For the entertainment value. Space Cats, however, is a mix between Faster Than Light and XCOM. There's spaceship building and managing your crew of cats inspired by FTL, and then battles are turn-based like in XCOM. There's a demo available, which I haven't played as of now, but the people who did rated it a 97% positive rating. Despite this being made by just one developer, which is usually a bad idea in my experience, this actually looks not half-baked at all. I'm impressed, even though this isn't really my genre of game. I enjoyed FTL and I enjoyed XCOM to some extent, but that's about it, to some extent. But plenty of people absolutely adore those games, and people love cats too, right? So this is a golden combination. Support this dude, put it on your wish list, check out the demo if you're interested. I think this could be decent. And if you happen to be an indie developer and watching this and you have something decent on offer or a total meme like Moolander, send me an email and you might end up in this section. If that's good or bad remains to be seen, largely depends on what you send, I would say. But hey, at least you got some exposure, right? Okay, and then it's time to release some games, starting with what recently released. The Fermi Paradox launched into early access July 1st. This indie game covers its titular paradox, which basically is the real-life situation that there are billions of other planets like Earth where intelligent life could have evolved over time, but still it seems we are the only ones in the entire universe. Purely based on statistical probability, we should have encountered alien life by now, but we haven't. That's the paradox pretty much. Alien life has never been sighted, at least according to scientists, not counting blurry pictures of UFOs. In this choice-driven sci-fi narrative strategy game, it is your goal to break this paradox and let several intergalactic civilizations make contact and, who knows, even live happily ever after. That's not what happened when I played the demo during Steam Fest, that's for sure. I destroyed most of my civilizations actually, which was still fun. Only mankind made it to the era of space travel while other species remained almost primordial. Really interesting and chill game. Then, upcoming releases. Boomerang X is upon us. Harness the power of a mystical boomerang to fling yourself through the air. Slice, fly and blast through arenas swarming with evil creatures. Stay agile or meet your doom. Another Devolver Digital published game, and if this doesn't look unique and visually appealing, I don't know what does. I think this game is going to be crazy good and super fun. Release date July 8th. Black Skylands releases into early access July 9th. It's pixel art, skypunk, open world action adventure with twin stick shooter elements. You can travel by foot and by airship. The point is to kill these monsters or aliens and apparently pirates as well. You can upgrade your ship, you can do crafting, there are plenty of weapons, base building, I think on your ship, options to capture the land, exploration, maybe more, and this could be fun. It is planned to be in early access for a year. It's developed by 15 people from a Russian indie studio and the game is roughly around 50% done. If I get a review key in time, I will make a video about this because this just looks like a cool title. Swords of Legends Online is an action MMORPG set in a breathtaking fantasy world with sophisticated combat mechanics and a unique storyline based on Chinese mythology. Here's the trailer. It's a Chinese MMO, so it's probably pay to win as well, despite the box price, but who knows. I would check a channel like Lazy Peon who will surely cover this title at some point. He already played the Chinese version. This is just for your information really. Release date is July 9th. Release price for the standard edition is €40 in the Netherlands. AAA price is €60 here to put that in perspective. And then finally time for some personal updates. What have I been up to? Well, mostly Final Fantasy XIV, ladies and gentlemen. I'm enjoying that game so much. It's really amazing so far. I finished Stormblood and just take some time doing dungeons and raids and trials, getting some tanking experience in. And I think I'm sort of playing like the epilogue of Stormblood at the moment. Like Stormbringers doesn't really seem to have started just yet, but Stormblood has officially finished. I saw the credits roll. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I'm just following the story and it's good. The dungeons in this game, by the way, they rival the storylines and honestly they're extremely well designed. Especially the bosses have this really grandiose feeling about them. The fights themselves may not be as snappy and elaborate as World of Warcraft, and there's a lot of crap going on during the fights in terms of abilities, which you can probably tone down a bit if need be, but the whole idea of you fighting massive icons and dragons and other creatures and the scale of it all is just excellently done. What a game. I'm soon diving into Stormbringers, which is already active and I purchased it. I've just been doing some other quests in between. I'm playing quite a lot, but it's also easy to put the game away or take a small break and do some crafting or fishing. The whole experience is very chill and relaxed, and it seems Final Fantasy is actually trying to provide a good time instead of wasting it. I can recommend it a lot if you're looking for something to do for a while. And that is it. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. If you really like the video and you want to support the channel, you can grab a YouTube membership for $2, which gets you absolutely nothing but shows your very much appreciated love and support. You can also check out my Nexus store, link in card and the description, where I'm selling a few of my favorite games, and if you buy these I get a small cut. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.